Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm as always your host, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about why anti-gunners can go fuck themselves and why they are actually to blame for why kids are mentally ill these days. We'll also talk about Ohio's upcoming SEPA legislation being co-sponsored by several more people now. We will also be discussing the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act today for a little bit of time during this episode. So obviously I got on the 76 hat, got a new haircut today, so half it's a lot better now is what it is. But yeah, so basically for those that don't know, where I'm living at right now, there is a township not far from me called Jackson Township. It's basically in the Canton area there. And there's been a lot of bad stuff that have happened at schools around there in the last year or two now, where you got kids just being fucking dumbasses, and who knows how they're getting access to these firearms. Probably parents just being irresponsible or negligent, or whatever the case be, or the guardians being negligent or irresponsible, whatever it is there. But let's just say the kids are getting guns. And I've talked about this for the past, 4 or 5 years now. I said, what do you expect to have happen with these kids when you are literally putting them under lockdown back in 2020 for a year and a half of their lives? Of course, it's going to fuck them up psychologically at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, whatever it is there. So, of course, you're now seeing the fallout of this, which is the Mexican Joker fallout is basically what it is. And for those who don't know what Mexican Jokers are, go watch the South Park episode. It's pretty good. It's basically the gist of it is that you're instilling fear into someone, so much so that you're actually creating the thing that you are trying to get away from is what it is there. And like I said, with the lockdown stuff, you are psychologically messing these kids' heads up so much so that now, 5 years later, of course you're going to have kids taking guns into schools, doing school shootings, et cetera, et cetera. It's just common fucking sense at that point that, correlation is causation in this case. Or I guess, yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, it's a bunch of shit, honestly. And then I was looking up something last night and came upon this other fucking ass clown's Facebook profile from a week ago, where he was talking about this whole thing. And it's ironic because he himself is obviously an anti-gunner, given the post that he's posted about this whole thing. Then falsely try to claim that storage does not actually work, but yet then is pushing for gun control. So it's like, what the hell kind of oxymoronic shit is that, bro? It makes no logical sense at all. If anything, what you should be pushing for is harder laws on the books against the parents of these people. And I want to point out, too, for the fact, the kid that took this Springfield XD45 to his school there in Jackson Township, he's already been charged with multiple felonies in the state as a minor. He's already got inducing panic and a bunch of other stuff on his record now is what it is. Now, granted, I haven't heard anything one way or another if they're actually going to charge their parents or not in the situation. I think they personally should. And, that's coming from somebody who actually is a pro-2A advocate, the constitutions, et cetera. And it's because, yeah, if you're going to let your kid, gain access to your firearm and that they're fucked in the head, they need to get charged. It's just like that piece of shit Crumbly kid over there in Michigan, where you had his parents know that he was a fucking lunatic, and yet they bought him a gun for Christmas that time. And then what did he do? He went on a school killing spree is what it was there, dude. So, and of course they were charged there because technically Michigan back in the 80s got rid of what they called felony murder rule, which Ohio still has in the books right now is what it is. And that's the only reason that the parents had to be charged in a different manner is what it is there in that case. Because technically, had they actually still had felony murder rule in the state of Michigan, they basically had to charge his parents with that is what it was, because obviously it was, accessories before and after the fact. Because A, they provided him with a firearm and stuff like they did the killing with. And then B, they obviously were going on the run after the fact because they knew they were going to get trouble as it was then for, providing a gun and the ammo and stuff like that for him to do that stuff. So, which honestly, the thing I never understood about that story in general is, how do you not also charge the school principal and the school resource officer in that case, because they all knew that this kid was a fucking lunatic there in Michigan, and yet they didn't have him dump his fucking bag out on the table in the principal's office. They were like, oh, let's have a fucking chat with this kid. Oh, okay, go back to school. Go back to the fucking class, son. Here's your backpack back, without even checking it out. And then you wonder why that kid was able to do his fucking massacre there in Michigan. It's like, it's not that hard to figure out, dude. You're fucking dumb, is what it is. Like, you're a bunch of idiots, is what it is. But yeah, then you had somebody go through this other guy's profile here about the Jackson thing, and then discuss all the stupid people in his comment section. There are a bunch of anti-gunners too, for that matter. So this was this moron's original post. He said, I'm tired of hearing about responsible gun owners. No third grader should ever have access to a firearm. And then one brings it to school. So I'm going to disagree with you on that one alone, because if you actually are a responsible gun owner in this country, kids should have that access to that thing. If you are an actual good parent in this country, you are teaching your children from a young age about proper firearm safety and how to use them is what it is. Because, God fucking forbid they are ever put in a situation where, they have to go out there and show, just cause of what's happening there is what it is. So in that case, this dude is very wrong on that one. So continuing on with this guy's post here, he said, anyone against gun control at this point is just a repulsive individual. Yeah, why don't you come at me, bro, and see what fucking happens. You can fuck off with your gun control horseshit, buddy. And he said, argue all you want about locking up weapons or whatever, all you want, but clearly this doesn't work, and every single statistic shows this. Yet he provides no statistics, by the way. So he's basically making up bullshit off the top of his head. And then he continued on and said, Jackson Township Police Department, Stark County, Ohio, absolutely better filing charges against the parents/guardians of the kid, the full extent of the law. And then this Jake guy underneath him said, I'm pro 2A, but yes, parents should be held legally responsible for their child gets a hold of a gun. And I don't disagree with that one, honestly. Like I said before, dude, like, as a constitutionalist, as a 2A advocate, as somebody who's actually fought for, gun rights in the state right now, I totally agree with that, honestly. I think it's ridiculous that I personally think it's ridiculous that kids' parents haven't been charged already with it right now in this whole situation. But at the same time, to sit there and, be like, gun control doesn't work, but we should totally push gun control. It's like, what the hell kind of retarded nonsense is that, buddy? It's just dumb. You're just being stupid is what it is. So anyway. Continuing down the line, this Beth woman said all of this. Carol woman said, totally agree. It's not the child that purchased the gun. If they don't have them safely secured, along with age-appropriate education of the dangers, the parents should be held responsible. See, that just seems like an MDA bitch at that point, dude. Because you're like, oh, the education to basically, oh, the big scary black gun. No, it's not scary at all. If you teach kids proper, and this is what I've been saying for years now, dude. Like, personally, I would love to see the Ohio school system and every school system in this country right now have programs on the books right now where it is a mandatory class these kids have to take to eventually graduate, and it would be proper firearm safety. It would be teaching kids from kindergarten and above, like, hey, this is a gun, this is the parts of a gun, et cetera, like breaking it down, everything like that, teaching them the ins and outs of that stuff, and then showing them, how to be responsible with a firearm is what it is. Because that's the thing. If you don't make it a scary thing, if you don't make it like, oh, don't touch this or something's going to happen or whatever the case be, they're not going to be curious about it, dude. It's when you take that thing and you're like, don't ever touch this. It's mommy's special toy or daddy's special toy or whatever the case be. Then, of course, they're going to want to find it and fuck with it then. But if you just have it as an everyday thing for that and you're teaching them and parenting them properly, you're actually doing a very good service for this country. And the problem is these parents or these, adults or whatever out there that are calling for gun control and shit like that, they're the ones doing a disservice to these kids because they're the ones pushing this shit that eventually causes more of these massacres. Because these are the same assholes that were doing the forced masking and everything else back in 2020. And they were the ones locking these kids down for 442 days here in Ohio as it is, dude. and allowing DeWine to push his tyranny for that long in this state. And yet they're the ones now calling for gun control, even though they're admitting gun control doesn't work. So it's like, yeah, you're just a moron. First off, you're a hypocrite, and then you're a fucking dumbass, is what it is, on top of everything else. So, and then somebody else that didn't know what happened. This moron Cheryl Woman said this does not happen in other countries, which is a fucking lie, by the way. It does. All you gotta do is look up any other country that people have access to firearms, and then it happens all those countries, dude. Not only that, but if it don't have access to firearms in those countries, look at all these knifings, these stabbings, Islam going through fucking, half of the European countries with a fucking truck and stuff like that in some market. They just ram a truck through like 20 people on a Christmas market or whatever every year. There's what it is. So yeah, shit like that does happen overseas, you dumb bitch. It may not be a firearm, it's just some other tool at that point. And that's what it is, dude. All a gun is a fucking tool. It is a tool of self-defense. Plain and simple. End of story. So, anyway. This Richard guy had it correct. He said, no law is going to stop stupidity. Never has and never will. Exactly. And then that guy got back to him with a bunch of comments. There's what it is. I'm not going to bother with that. This Floyd guy said, type of gun control that puts parents of that third grader in jail for a minimum of 10 years I'm into, but the gun control that puts guns into categories and applies only to law-abiding citizens is stupid. Exactly. Well, and the thing is, it's not even gun control at that point. It would be, you're just talking about laws at that point, dude. Like, you're not even talking about gun control at all. You're talking about criminal law is what you're actually calling for. And the criminal law would be to lock the parents up for not actually doing their job and stopping a mentally ill child from gaining access to their firearms that it is there. Taking it to school with them to potentially do a mass shooting, which thank God, in this case, there was another kid at that school that knew what was going on and told the principal, told the school resource officer, et cetera, and was able to stop that shit before it happened. That kid should literally be given a fucking Medal of Honor or some kind at this point, dude. Or whatever it would be, like citizen trophy kind of thing is what it is there. For like heroism and stuff like that. So yeah, and then this alley woman said, pure curiosity, what does gun control look like to the dude who was the original poster there? To which this guy replied, he said, ahead and see above. Okay, so was it maybe this one right here that he talked about? Yeah, the Scott guy was jumping in that comment section and said, kids and adults are dying from fentanyl overdose or their drugs. We should make those 100% strictly illegal and harsh penalties for possession all across the board. And then this idiot went on to say, as they are, which is not the case in all cases, saying we can't have gun laws because bad people won't listen to them is full dumbass argument. Well, no, you're a dumbass argument there, buddy, because, again, you're not talking about gun law, you're talking about gun control. Big difference. A law is something that is, gun laws specifically, pro-2A gun laws, like constitutional carry, a good thing. Anti-gun laws, like safe storage, red flag laws, universal background checks, gun mag bans, assault weapons bans, all that stupid shit like that, it is all unconstitutional as fuck. That's the entire point. And if you want to get into that argument, buddy, 1776 will happen again, motherfucker. End of story. It's that simple, literally. So, anyway. Let's see. And the Scott guy commented back at his comment and said, no amount of, quote, gun laws will ever prevent anything ever. It's tried and true point. The only thing that will ever come of more gun laws would be stripping law-abiding citizens of their right of obeying already in place laws. And then this idiot responded back and said, no laws because people won't follow them anyway. It's just the silliest argument and has no merit. Well, your entire argument has no merit either, dude, because that's the whole point. Like I can point to every time a fucking massacre happens in this country, dude, isn't a gun-free zone. All schools in this country are gun-free zones. Hospitals are gun-free zones. Literally, when you look at the statistics, and these are old statistics from about 15, 20 years ago now, that at that time said, when people were doing the research for that stuff, that 97.8%, so almost 98% of all gun crime happened in gun-free zones. So you're talking about 2.2% at that point did not. That's a huge fucking deal, man. When you're talking about nearly 100% of all fucking gun crime, every massacre, etc., happening in places where guns were not allowed, where they were banned from being there. You can't just write that shit off, dude. And it's that simple, literally. So, anyway. Let's see. Continuing back, this Courtney Ann woman said, minors getting their hands on guns and walking into schools with it requires a gun control that should be harsh on the parent, guardian of or adult that did not have their gun secure, hidden, or out of sight of a minor. That is literally the fucking script of a Mamas and Me in Action member right there, dude. Like, that is the bullshit that they will say verbatim every damn time that they are on the stand arguing against Pro 2A stuff in this or any other state for that matter. Like, that is exactly the kind of shit that they push. Like, when they put their little fucking script out, that's exactly what it is, dude. It's that part of the fucking script they always talk about. So. And then she said, kids, in fact, do not need to know how to operate a gun or have access to them. Yeah, you're fucking wrong, you stupid cunt. So the argument that criminals don't follow the law or why am I being punished is a weak argument. No, your ass is a weak argument, bitch. Everything you just said right there is a fucking weak argument that I can literally destroy in less than 5 seconds. And then she goes on this whole diatribe. I'm not going to bother reading the rest of this shit. It's just dumb. Just like this idiot Tim guy in the bottom here that said, also, people will still say you're wrong. I'd like to send them autopsy photos of children to get the point across. An AR-15 turns kids into goo and miss, which is a fucking lie, by the way. And I'm glad to see so many people are still defending in the comments. So this guy's just an idiot in general, dude. And by the way, why are you sending people autopsy photos of dead kids, man? That right there is some psychological fucking, yeah, like you're fucking mental, dude. Fucking sick ass people. This is what I'm saying, dude. Like, this is the kind of shit we're up against. These fucking clowns are exactly what we're up against in this country right now. But it's ironic because how do they expect to get guns out of our hands as the so-called law-abiding citizens of this country? Oh yeah, that's right. They want to send armed men with guns to take our guns, the exact same guns that they want to ban. Geniuses. On the flip side of things, when it comes to good 2A legislation here in Ohio, we now have a new co-sponsor on 2 Pro 2A bills, which is Heidi Workman, one of the new state reps, as of about a half hour ago, is now a co-sponsor of the Second Amendment Preservation Act and the Freedom to Carry Act. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Legiscan, and we'll talk about both these pieces of legislation very soon. Actually, I'll talk about the SAPL one right now is what it is. Specifically, the Second Amendment Preservation Act is what it is. It's 2A sanctuary. It's what I've been fighting for since literally 2019, 6 years ago. Almost the day. It's ironic that when you look at who's behind it now, being Ohio Gunners and stuff like that, Chris Dorr, he was openly back in 2019 trying to fuck us over as a grassroots movement when myself and others were part of Stark Stands United and Ohio Stands United, because we were actually getting stuff done at that point and getting, county by county, county commissioners to sign up on the stuff and making themselves 2A sanctuary counties at the time. And then he realized a couple years later he could financially benefit off of this. And so that's when he got on board. And that's the one thing I dislike about so many other so-called Pro 2A groups out there that are claiming to fight for your rights and stuff like that. They don't give a fuck, dude. What they give a fuck about is that money in their pocket. Because for them, it's a job. And it pays well when you don't actually, knock down the fucking barriers and knock out shit like the NFA, et cetera, there. And when you fight like one thing at a time for years and years, and then you send people emails and mailers and everything else like that, and you're like, hey, dude, you know what? We need money. Oh, by the way, we noticed that you are not a member of our group or whatever the case be. Here's how you can be. It's only X amount of dollars a month, et cetera, there. And it's like, fuck off, bro. Like, that's kind of shit I hate so much is what it is. Because, like, even when you have, like, Door and the people at Hot just talking about, oh, we're fighting for your rights and stuff like that. And then it's at the bottom of the emails are always like, if you would like to donate X amount of money, here you go. Or even when they'll send you like a thing, because I've gotten emails before from them and stuff like that, where they're like, hey, contact your state rep about like having them co-sponsor this legislation, whether it be the Freedom to Carry Act or SAFE or whatever it is there. And then when you actually, send that email, then it sends you to another page and it's like, oh, if you would like to donate to your organization, like here's different amounts you could do that. And I'm like, dude, fuck yourself. Like, seriously. Like, that's one thing I would never ask people to do. I will never ask you to donate a dime to a High Picture Education Network, dude, because I don't need it. I mean, telling I do need, I guess, is what it is, because I would need it for like gas money and stuff like that to go to Columbus and actually fight for this shit. But the thing is, I'm not going to sit there and beg people to be like, give me money to fight for your rights. No, I'm just going to fight for your fucking rights, is what it is, dude. Like a real man would do. It's that simple, honestly. So, sorry, I'm trying to look up the Freedom to Carry Act. But yeah, basically what the Second Amendment Reservation Act is it would allow for, it was basically what Missouri passed a couple years ago that the Supreme Court, I think it was Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken, deemed unconstitutional at the time, which, by the way, it wasn't, which basically was like, yeah, if any government entity at a federal level tries to come in there and take your gun rights away, fuck them. They have no standing here. They're not going to be helped by local cops, local sheriffs, whatever it is there. So I don't know if that's just going to go through or not. I could see the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act actually going through those, what it is. So I'm just going to look up firearm right now and see what comes up here. Yeah, because when you actually look up what Democrats are trying to push through here is what it is. Of course, for this General Assembly right now, we have stupid horse shit, unconstitutional crap, like ERPOs, aka red flag laws, prohibit certain firearms transfers without a background check. They want to do universal background checks. Here's what it is. Enact the Repeat Offender Act, which is another fucking Democrat done thing. It's basically trying to, right, is it Democrat or is it Republican? I'm sorry, it's Republican. What is this one? I forget what this one actually is. Oh, okay, this is actually a good piece of legislation right here is what it is. I think this is actually one of the ones I was talking to him about doing several years back now is what it is, because it was when I had my gun stolen back and I was living over there in another part of the state. And I was saying then what they needed to do was they needed to put like harsh penalties on, gun crime and stuff like that in this country or in this state specifically what it is there. And I believe that's what this will do. I don't think it's actually gotten a hearing or anything like that since then. Oh no, I am wrong. It actually did pass the House as of 2 days ago. That's good. Yeah, let's see. 71 yeses, 24 noes. So that means there was some Democrats actually voted for this then, because there's only 63 Republicans in the State House right now, I believe. So that means there's 8 Democrats that actually flipped the script and voted for 2A rights. Or I should say harsh penalties for criminals, what it is there. It's interesting though when you look at this because it's all 100% Republican co-sponsored. Yeah, let's see what the passage was on this though. Oh, I was wrong. 9 Democrats actually flipped. Wow. That's wild, man. So not everybody was there. There was 4 people missing for that vote then. Wow, I'm actually shocked by that one. Known Moms Demand Action member Rachel Baker actually voted in favor of this piece of legislation. That is shocking. That is very surprising. Although I guess it's probably because she hates guns so much. She's like, yeah, fuck those criminals. Lock them up. Get them out. Get all the guns off the streets. Sean Brennan, who's been kind of an anti-gunner, was also a yes vote on this. Was pretty interesting. Let's see who's the other Democrats here. Let's see, it's our Republicans. Chris Glassburn, who's a first-term state rep Democrat, voted yes on this legislation. Derek Hall, who was a first-term Democrat, voted yes on this. Let's see. Of course, anti-gun DYKE voted yes on this shit, dude. Or sorry, voted no against, or voted against, I should say. Yeah, Crystal's one of these people who shouldn't even be in office at all, is what it is, dude. Interestingly, Joe Miller III, who's been in our state house forever, voted in favor of this legislation. Of course, the Islamic terrorist, Mrs. Muhammad, didn't vote for it. So, let's see what the Democrats voted yes on this. Wow, Allison Russo was actually a yes vote on this. Interesting, given the fact she's been bought and paid for by Moms Demand Action since May of 2021, where she took a bribe from them with a big-ass fat envelope full of cash. It's still on record, by the way. All you have to do is go to legislan.com, go to the Ohio Channel.com and look up the archives on that for the House Oversight Committee hearings back to May of 2021. You can actually find the one that they're doing for, at the time it was constitutional carry. And you can see her in the back. She walks in, she has her little coffee cup in one hand, and you see this Moms Demand Action member reach into her bag, grab out this big fat envelope full of cash, obviously, which you can't see the cash pop out of it. You see a big fat envelope, so it is there, and just hand this obviously fat envelope full of cash to Allison Russo. And within like 2 minutes, Russo's out the fucking door is what it is. So, and she was never investigated for that shit either, which is ridiculous. Let's see, Mark Sturgrant, I guess I pronounced it. That's another Democrat that voted in favor of it. Anti-gunner Bryder Sweeney voted for this, which is very interesting. And then Daniel Troy voted for it. I'm almost wondering if it's because they know it is like better for the state of Ohio is what it is there, dude. And it's going to pass anyway. So it's like, yeah, you might as well jump on board on that one. Also makes me wonder what the favorable pass 9-4 vote was then. That was straight on party lines then. Yeah, of course, Danny Isaac John, who's one of the biggest fucking like Students Demand Action cunt bags ever, voted against that stuff, as did Muhammad, Eric Strisberg, and Denise Desiree Timms. A lot of these people are brand new to me. They just got in the last General Assembly who was there. So, yeah, I'm trying to see what else we got here. Regards failure to comply order of law enforcement. Regards committing crimes committed while wearing masks or disguises. Increased penalty for failure to report a lost or stolen firearm. This is another thing I think is bullshit right here. Going back to the thing with the fucking that other Adam guy there on Facebook. This is the kind of shit this guy wants right here, man. Is what it is. Where you have your shit stolen, and then when you actually report it stolen, they bust you for stuff. And this is all Democrat crap right here is what it is, dude. Thankfully, it's going nowhere. That's all in the state senate right there is what that is. I was going to say, is this the Freedom to Carry Act or not? I don't think so. No, that's just that's the expansion of stuff is what it is right there. And I don't think it is anyway. Yeah, I can't seem to find it anywhere on here. That's weird. I'm gonna look it up on the thing and see what comes up. Ohio Freedom to Carry Act. Oh, okay. So according to this, it was basically constitutional carry, but it would be essentially a better version of constitutional carry is what it is then, like I said. This would be basically instead of it being just guns only, it would be knives, brass knucks, batons, etc. we could carry in our pocket, concealed. And what's interesting is going back to 2021 when this was actually supposed to be the original. This was actually going to originally be in the original constitutional carry that we had back then. It was old scumbag rhino fuckbag Bill Seitz who was like, "Oh, this is the Antifa amendment because the Antifa doesn't usually carry guns." Yeah, you know who else doesn't carry guns, dude? Anybody who is 18, 19, or 20 years old and can't legally purchase a fucking handgun in the state of Ohio, you idiot. That's who doesn't carry guns. So you're talking about a lot of college-age kids that aren't Antifa that can't defend themselves by having pepper spray in their pocket or a knife in their pocket or a fucking extendable baton in their pocket that they can beat the shit out of somebody with if they needed to in self-defense. That's what we're fighting for. Like I said, with the other stuff in Freedom to Carry Act, I believe there is a piece of like paragraph in there that basically would take away the BS restrictions that we've had on our books forever here in the state of Ohio, which basically, as it stands right now, if I got into a vehicle with a long gun, AR, AK, whatever, it doesn't matter, I would physically have to have that in a bag, that gun in a bag, have to take the magazine out of that gun, put it in a different part of that bag with another. Like basically, if you're talking about like going to the range, whatever the case be, like a soft carry case that has like little slot things on the side of it that you can, I was gonna say zip down, but that's not what it is. It has a like a Velcro patch on it, where you can rip it up and down or whatever to take out the mags. It'd be something like that. Basically, we'd have to have the mags in that piece, and then have the gun itself in the actual piece like zipped up then, which is so fucking dumb because if you want to carry a truck gun, and God forbid, you know, there is rioting and stuff like that, and you have a bunch of people trying to stop you, like, you're not going to have time to reach in a fucking bag, grab out a gun, reach in another part of the bag, grab out a fucking mag, put it in there, charge the fucking handle, and go. No, you're going to need to grab that gun up, fucking flip off the safety. I already have one in the chamber, and just do what needs to be fucking done. That's what it is, dude. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it should be, because that's how it is in most other states in this country right now. Like, Ohio's gun laws right now, in many cases, are so far behind what it is for the rest of the nation. It's absolutely fucking retarded, dude, is what it is in many cases. So, yeah, because right now it's concealed handgun only is what it is for the current Freedom to Carry Act thing for 2022, aka Senate Bill 215. So yeah, this would basically allow for any weapon to be carried then, concealed or otherwise, which is how it should be anyway, dude. Because again, like, it shouldn't be a situation where we're going to put a fucking little clip on a pocket knife and then shove it into my pants to where the clip is showing to have not be a concealed weapon. I should be able to literally take that, clip it off my pants, and then shove the whole knife into my pocket and be fine to go. But God forbid I do that. Now I'm going to catch a fucking charge in the state of cop fuck with me or whatever the case be. So it's just dumb. It's such backward ass bullshit is what it is in many cases. So just like the opinions of these idiot anti-gunners out there that are like, oh, you're doing a weak argument if you're talking about your rights. Fuck you, dude. You're a fucking weak argument, bitch. You're pushing the weakest argument possible because you're literally calling for the same disarmament that our founding fathers had to fight a goddamn revolution against. So yeah, you're part of the problem, buddy. Not me, not any other gunner in this country. That being said, like I said, if you're going to have mental illness being pushed to the forefront for years now, and you're not going to address that stuff, and you're not going to address the fact that literally every single school shooter has been on SSRI antidepressants in this country, which, by the way, is a known fact at this point. Sorry, internet keeps dipping in and out. But yeah, there was a study done recently in the last year or so that now proves that every single school shooting that's ever happened in this country since like the early 90s, it was moving in the 80s for that matter, are all tied to SSRI, big pharma drugs. So if you don't want to have that conversation, dude, okay, then you're part of the fucking problem. Because you're actively denying the truth at this point of what really is the problem. And it is psych drugs in this country that they're shoving down kids' throats, that are making them mentally ill, that are making them want to go on these school rampages. And just like in the case of this third grader and stuff like that, dude, like my understanding was this kid's been bullied for like several years now. And what was his solution? Go take mom or dad's gun and kill a bunch of people. Instead of them actually dealing with it at a school level and being like, yes, this kid's obviously the fucking thing of being bullied. Let him beat this kid's ass and be done with it, dude. Because that's the problem right now. Instead of them actually letting kids fight this out and get it out of their systems and stuff like that, let the kid who's being bullied beat the shit out of the bully. Instead, they're like, oh, you beat the shit out of the bully? Oh, now you're expelled from these schools. It's a bunch of crap all the way around is what it is. So, like, it's such garbage in general, dude. And the fact of the matter is, dude, like, truthfully, like, as someone who's been bullied most of my life, like, especially in my childhood and stuff like that, dude, it does. It leaves a scar on you permanently, on your psyche, but at the same time, it actually grows you as a better person then, because it allows you to stand up to, someone bigger than you or even someone smaller than you that's, thinks they're big shit or whatever it is. And it's like you don't want to fight them, but eventually you have to fight them is what it is, But it also allows for you to become a better man is what it is. And I think that's the problem right now is that you have so many of these women out in our society that they are trying to destroy your fucking manhood and your boyhood, etc., to where they're not even allowing young boys to become young men and be more productive members of society because they want to destroy masculinity is what it is, for the throwaway from Nazi bullshit is what it is, dude, in many cases. And it's absolutely fucking disgusting is what it is. So, anyway. I think that's about it for this one. I'm still waiting on a package to come today. It's supposed to be clothes that are supposed to come. I don't know if it's actually coming there or not. It's supposed to. They claimed it was supposed to be FedEx shipping it, but then I think it's like FedEx through like USPS or something like that. Oh, actually, that was one I wanted to talk about too before I leave. I forgot about that one. So, if you don't check out Newsbreak, there's a app called Newsbreak. It's actually really good. It talks about like local news in your areas and stuff like that. So you guys might remember that shit that happened the other day with all those prisoners in Louisiana breaking out. Apparently, it was an inside job. My understanding now is what it was. It was like some admin or something like that. Like one of the guys was fucking or something. And I think it was a chick, if I'm not mistaken, that helped them basically get plans to where this toilet was like had been drilled over a open hole or whatever, and that's what they busted that toilet out and they got through the holes what it is there. So as of last night, Thursday night, down in Columbus, there was a minimum security prison in the state of Ohio, correctional facility, whatever we call it here, where 4 inmates have now escaped that fucking facility last night. And this is exactly why I care everywhere, dude. Because of shit like this. Because you literally have 4 escapees that the cops don't know where the fuck they are right now. And as it says here, 4 escaped inmates from a minimum security correctional facility in Columbus on Thursday night, prompting police search and issuance of arrest warrants. Columbus police responded to a Franklin County community-based correctional facility about 8:50 p.m. after receiving reports that inmates had broken a window and fled the premises. Since the identities of inmates have not yet been released, authorities are actively working to locate the individuals. According to a website, that minimum security place is a residential prison division program for adult offenders offering minimum security supervision. Police are urging anyone with information on the escapees to call authorities immediately. Yeah, good fucking luck with that, bro. Like, if those guys are even still in Ohio at this point, which they might not be, they could be in Indiana, they could be in Michigan, they could be over in Pennsylvania now, or even up in New York State for that matter, depending how long they've been gone for, obviously, and how much help they had at the outside, obviously. But the thing that, like, that's what I'm saying, like, right? Like, you have the minimum security facilities like that, where all they gotta do is bust out a window and they're just out the fucking door pretty much. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's retarded. So, it's like that one time a few years ago when the guy killed the woman at the Bob Evans, who, by the way, my cousin was like one of her last customers, not her last customer, which is ironic. And then it was after they killed this woman, the ex boyfriend of this woman that killed her, he was actually apprehended like two or three blocks up from my old house is what it was there. I think it was basically like catty corner, like a mile and a half from my house, basically, or something like that. So it's just fucking crazy, dude. But anyway, and this is why I'm always armed, because shit like that right there, man. But yeah, I don't know if my package is coming right now or not, so I do need to check my thing from FedEx from earlier today and see if there is a where's it at here now? Yeah, it should be right here, maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. It's saying by end of day today, but then for the last update for it, it said it arrived at a FedEx facility in Grove City at 4 o'clock this morning. And there's been no updates for the past 13 hours. So, okay, so apparently they shipped it in a way that is supposed to be the mail service is actually taking it to me then. So technically it should be here whenever my mailman gets here. So that'll be probably like an hour and a half from now, something like that. So, because he used to come around 5 and now he's coming around like 6:30, something like that. So I take it that it should be here in like an hour or two then. That'd be the case. But yeah, it'll be nice because then I got some new pajama pants coming and got some new shorts that I bought that were not super expensive, but they were still more than they should have been, obviously. But that was like 2 for 1, I think is what it was, or something. Or it was like buy one, get one for a penny or something like that. That's what the deal was there on King Size. So, yeah, figured I had to get them then. That way I can have a pair of shorts for the coming weekend. And I hang out with my aunt and go do a little fishing here in a few days from Memorial Day. So, anyway, but yeah, it's been real. It's been fun. Shit be crazy, man. I'll tell you that right now. And anybody calling for gun control in 2025, I'm going to say it like it is right now. You should never have voting rights in this country ever again. Because fuck those people. They are the exact people that our founding fathers fought against, the tyrant motherfuckers that our founding fathers fought against to secure this nation in 1776. And if you want to fuck around, you're going to find out that 1776 will be the current year. And it's that simple. End of story. Have a good one, y'all. Peace out. Stay safe. Always be carrying, because you never know what's going to happen. And if you are not actively fighting for Pro-2A laws in your states, you are not doing your job as a Second Amendment supporter, as a Second Amendment advocate, as a Second Amendment activist. And you should be calling up your federal senators right now, too, for that matter, because we are this close right now to actually having the budget bill passed that actually has the ability to finally get rid of suppressors off of the NFA, and also has the SHORT Act in it that would allow for us to actually have like SBRs and SBSs and stuff like that now as well. Now is the time to fight for this shit. Now is the time to kick down the fucking door that will eventually drop kick the fucking domino that will be the NFA domino that will knock down every other gun control in this country's history for the last 100 fucking years now. Now is the time to get in the fight. Now is the time to contact your congressman. Now is the time to call your congressman. Now is the time to call your senator. Now is the time to get on X or Twitter or whatever the fuck you want to call it at this point and direct message these people and be like, do your job and vote this through. Vote the budget bill through that has these amendments in them. And it's that simple. Peace out, y'all.